All right, we're back in the studio live here at Devolutions with Marc, from the product marketing team now.
Yes.
Used to be part of the sales team, customer success management team, and now made the switch to the product marketing team.
Indeed. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's good to be back.
And today we're going to talk about, with Marc, Remote Desktop Manager, with what's new in the latest version. And deep dive in the platform right away after that. Marc only has one slide. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, so a few items, 7 items, lucky number 7. So the things we'll be showcasing today: terminal command Paletti, script dashboard, CyberArk data source as well for those that use CyberArk in Remote Desktop Manager. Preview coming soon, passkey support. It's all the rage these days. It was the rage beginning of last year. So now we are jumping on in the bandwagon of passkeys. We'll be also discussing improvements that we did to our Active Directory synchronizer, SSH key management improvements as well. And also, I believe, and David would echo these words, a big switch for us is the foundations that we are changing, which is moving over to .NET 8 in terms of a framework. So we'll be diving into these elements. So switching over screen here quickly. The first thing that we did in terms of improvement is passing over to SSH when it comes to the capability of sending over scripts to machines. Some of you might have already used this. This is something that we had introduced a few years back, which was the ability to send over scripts, but directly available inside the session. So clickable buttons, clickable scripts, you just click on them and then it would send over to the machine here. So now what we've done is that we have the ability to directly from the interface to select if you have multiple scripts. So now you can see and switch over to them. So what I have here is very simple, just to show IP. So I can click on that and then it executes inside the device automatically. So that's what we've been able to do inside Remote Desktop Manager, the simple command Paletti. This is what we've added here. If you have any questions, any feedback, please, we'll be repeating this a lot. I repeat myself, but this is very important. Your feedback is critical. So if you see something or if you would like to see something added, because this is the power of Remote Desktop Manager, your voice is powerful here because that's what drives innovation in our product. So please don't hesitate to submit feedback when it comes to this. And then the next part is something of great importance that was there for a long time: scripting capabilities. So now what we've done is that we've added in Remote Desktop Manager a script dashboard. So in this dashboard, we can list a significant amount of new elements. To start here, PowerShell. There's a difference between, you'll see the blue ones and the green ones. There's a little difference. The green ones are executed against sessions mostly. Blue ones are things that you could, for example, execute on your device. So one simple example that I have to be executed against sessions. This is very similar to Script Runner. You might, those that have used this, it looks and feel a bit like it. We'll have more great stuff to come for the script dashboard, but just right now, a very simple one, get process. So execute against a running session that I have here, which in this case would be Telemark DC1. So I can do execute this script, and then here we show the processes that are running on this machine. So it's just simple, but it works and it's very powerful. And then whatever other scripts you have, you can just run it against the devices inside Remote Desktop Manager, and then you get to see visually what is happening on the device itself.
We had a lot of great feedback when this one came out in the latest version from the forum and on the blog and the force. And I believe this is a neat one where, again, simplicity is the key here, making things, streamlining the management of your machines and whatnot. But Very excited to see that one coming in Remote Desktop Manager.
Yeah, and it's a master display of all your scripts. Instead of being decentralized, we're now centralizing even more scripts. So the power of Remote Desktop Manager is all about centralizing, and now we've got something for scripts. And again, as you're saying, Max, more great things to come.
You mentioned Script Runner. In fact, it is indeed a lot like Script Runner, if you guys know the tool, but embedded in Remote Desktop Manager.
Yeah, that's correct. And so now the next item on the list, this one is more specific function. This is about people who use CyberArk. So CyberArk customers, we've heard you. We've been doing this integration for a few years now. A lot of improvements have come over the years. So now the next piece for us is to provide something that really boils down to reducing the number of clicks, reducing the amount of head work you have to do to bring in your assets into Remote Desktop Manager, because CyberArk has a great concept of secret management. They do a lot when it comes to that endpoint management. This is their forte. But us, where we come in, we provide great support for asset management. So in Remote Desktop Manager, what we've added is what we call the CyberArk data source. So this is a sort of like built-in dashboard when you open Remote Desktop Manager. Instead of opening a dashboard for those that might have already used it, the dashboard would just be an entry you would create. Now we've created a dedicated data source that just loads information to you automatically within Remote Desktop Manager. So all the secrets you have to manage, all of the sessions that you would have to manage, the associated hosts to the secrets are now listed here. And at the same time, the safes that you have are for those that are very familiar with Remote Desktop Manager, they're like the vaults for the data source itself. So I can switch between the different safes that I have, all the different ones. They're all listed here. We'll keep this one here for this presentation, but all of your safes are listed inside. And so the sessions that I have here, the concepts, 3 different concepts that we have. The first one is, I have my host. I then can see all of the accounts that can be used for this host. I just click on connect, selecting the component, PSM RDP, but then we've got SSH Toad, SQL Plus, vSphere for those that would need these. But PSM RDP is the one we use here. And then I select here the different accounts. We've got ones that are configured for this host. And then I can just take windjammer.loc/David. And then when we get in, really quick and easy. Get to the endpoint, get to the connection, and then you'll see the small indicator, very important, you are being recorded, Privileged Session Manager. So that's the part of CyberArk that your device is being actively recorded here inside Remote Desktop Manager. So reducing the number of clicks, making it easy for you to get where you need to be, having your assets, having your connections inside Remote Desktop Manager, the accounts themselves as well, the secrets. It's all there. It's all easy. It's all designed to make it really the fastest experience possible. And so this is what we've designed as our next iteration for CyberArk. So if we have some users of CyberArk here today watching us, please send over your feedback in the chat, on the forum, email, wherever channel you prefer. In terms of communication, this is critical for us because what we do here is to make your life easier. The next improvements is Active Directory synchronization. What we used to have before was that the synchronizer itself would synchronize data in Remote Desktop Manager. But the problem is that the distinction between what needs to be updated and what needs to be created wasn't always clear. So sometimes instead of updating existing entries, it would create new ones. So now by fetching or looking up the ID of the object in Active Directory, we instead know that this is the object that we're changing. And so modifications, if it's deleting it or adding new stuff, it's separate because the ID is now being looked up. And so that makes it easier to just having less, confusion. It makes it easier for you to keep your stuff that matters. And so that just keeps on updating. It's real-time synchronization. You've got your data from Active Directory, servicing computers, and it just brings them in, and then it keeps the data up to date. We're not creating new stuff if it doesn't need to be created. Other element as well, SSH key management. Tremendous changes when it comes to managing SSH keys in Remote Desktop Manager. Just to show you quickly what this is now in terms of difference. So under credential management, some of you might have known this as private key before. This was renamed to SSH key because we can cover private and also public keys. So just for consistency and common sense here across the board, SSH key is now being named. And so when you create a new key here, you can generate, import, or link to a local SSH key. So if you're just taking the new SSH key here, the generate option is by default RSA. I'm generating a new key. If we try to save it, we'll have a warning to put in a passphrase. That's best practices. You want to secure your private key or public key using a passphrase. So this is part of the workflow that we've improved. So we just want you to not forget anything. So we put this prompt here. You decide if you want a passphrase or not. Let's put not just for the sake of this presentation. Click on OK. Yes here. And then we can add this as an entry. And so putting a name, you see all the information saved. All of this is part of the key here. It's all within Remote Desktop Manager. And also something else that was improved is our local key manager in Remote Desktop Manager. So SSH key manager local, you see here, we now have listed here at the bottom a total for keys that are vulnerable, keys that are insecure. They'll be listed here in this management interface.
But it's quite interesting, and you had what 3 or 4 next features you wanted to take a look at?
Yeah, 1 or 2 here. Again, the last part for this release is the change in foundation, switching to .NET 8 in terms of foundation. And I know there was a question on the forum yesterday because there was a little bit of confusion. What is needed to run Remote Desktop Manager now with .NET 8? Well, it's the .NET Desktop runtime. And this will be changed in our system requirements for Remote Desktop Manager. The .NET Desktop runtime contains the .NET Runtime installer as it's listed on Microsoft's .NET download page. So you don't need to download that. It's really the desktop runtime. And so why the change to .NET 8? Well, I'm sure David will echo these words as well in the Q&A coming later. A lot of our innovation comes from the things that we use to make Remote Desktop Manager the product that it is. And so if we want to prepare the foundations for the future, a lot of things like, for example, people have requested this a lot, loading multiple data sources all at once at the same time. So not necessarily that a switch to .NET 8 will enable this, but it certainly helps. And so it opens us the door to future innovation, to future things that will make Remote Desktop Manager an even better product than it already is, because it's already great. I mean, it's the Ferrari that everyone likes and that everyone wants to use. And the idea is that what we see from customers, they say, how come I've lived all these years without this product? And that's the idea we want. It's the impression we want for Remote Desktop Manager. And so by changing the foundation, we're opening the door here. And what I always say, the tools that we use, their innovation is, in a sense, our innovation as well. Microsoft's innovation is our innovation. That might sound a bit strange here because Microsoft sometimes lags behind to some extent. But, they put a lot of effort. It's not easy, but by moving forward, we can improve things around and make Remote Desktop Manager much more powerful. So that's the reason for the switch to .NET 8.
You wanted to, you requested a poll question regarding the LAN sweeper integration. Do you have, maybe we can showcase a bit. I know it's pretty straightforward, but if you could just bring that up in Remote Desktop Manager and see a little bit in action what it looks like.
Yeah, so I'll just get over some of my stuff here on my screen. So LAN sweeper, a great integration that we did in Remote Desktop Manager. It's in fact something that I wrote myself that we went through. Synchronization, importing, and having a asset management tab for LAN sweeper is what made this integration a lot more interesting. Because for many years this was a request that we've had in Remote Desktop Manager. I've seen it now being here 8 years. I've seen a lot. I'm still seeing a lot, in fact. But the LAN sweeper integration was a big piece here. And this is something that also we would like feedback on.
And it's funny because Lansweeper has been around for many years, and we have a lot of similarities between our different companies in terms of go-to-market strategies, the kind of user base that we have, IT professionals. There's a lot of similarities between Devolutions and Lansweeper, which are based out of UK, if I remember correctly, with offices throughout the world. But it's a pretty new integration, but it's very powerful in Remote Desktop Manager.
Yeah, indeed. And the what you see here is our capability to import entries with all the other entries that we have. We've added one for Lansweeper. So what you'll bring here into Remote Desktop Manager is all of your stuff out of Lansweeper. So instead of having, again, multiple interfaces to work around, you just have one master display. That's what I like to say here. And this master display is what will show you everything you need inside Remote Desktop Manager. And so if we look here, Lansweeper, identity code, this is what's needed to start the integration, and then a site where we select the one that we need, in this case, API demo data site. This is the example that we have here. These are all devices that we have from Lansweeper. In this case, we've got examples for thousands of just test entries that we've got in Lansweeper. So I'm not going to import anything, but I'll show you the result. But this is what it looks like. And so you select all the resources that you have. You can use a custom query as well. For those that are scripting aficionados, the capability to do this in Remote Desktop Manager is available to you. But otherwise, what is the result of that? What does it look like? And so when you have your stuff in Remote Desktop Manager, this is all of the entries that we have here in Lansweeper, just a few items that we've added. It's all part of Remote Desktop Manager. And also the other type of entry that we have is one dedicated for Lansweeper when it comes to synchronizers. So this is a new addition. Properties here, very similar like the import. We've got elements in here, the identity code, the site that was taken as well. Destination folder using templates, just like all the other synchronizers. For those that are familiar here, the templates give you this power of just synchronizing and creating entries from that template. So if it's an RDP session, SSH, Telnet, VNC, whatever, the templates are there to make it easy to create these entries automatically from that specific type of entry. Then filtering and other advanced parameters, all part of the experience that is very similar to all the other types of synchronizers that we have. And so this is the second part for Lansweeper. And then the last part for Lansweeper is directly in properties of a session, whatever that may be, in properties here, under IT asset management. Lansweeper, the one we have. So you see here, you just put in a URL, and then when you log in on the page here, Lansweeper, you get to see the main interface of that tool. On here, you just log in with your email address here. So I'll just quickly log in to show you what it looks like. So it's very simple. Again, just seeing that main interface on a session, whatever you need to use to see here that information, log in, and that you are directly inside Lansweeper, directly from the main interface in RDM.
There's a question from Jeff. Do you have the ability to link the assets to ServiceNow rather than scan sweep the entire network again?
Yeah, well, very interesting. Like Maurice said earlier, what we're going to do, and I'm surmising perhaps that could be also the future. I could imagine in any synchronizer, like in any identity or any ticketing. So perhaps for the synchronizers, that could also be the future, where we can create a custom type that would bring in stuff. Right now, I'm sure with our ability to do PowerShell and Remote Desktop Manager, I'm sure something can be done right now. Or even with a CSV file, it might not be as powerful as the dedicated integrations that we have, but at least it gives you a way to make this work in Remote Desktop Manager without, necessarily have to go through all of the hoops and the difficulties that might exist if Remote Desktop Manager wasn't there. So there's that. And perhaps one small addition here before I move on to our last item. I get these questions often. Can you integrate this? Can you integrate that? X, Y, Z. So depending on if Remote Desktop Manager is capable of doing that, because we've got so many integrations inside RDM, but the power of Remote Desktop Manager lies in its ability to have any type of technology using, for example, a simple command line session or PowerShell. You can call the executable with parameters. It's not as easy or as clean as direct integrations that we may have, but it's still possible. Even if we don't have it right now, we might have it in the future, but we might not. At least still you can use command line or PowerShell to call your applications to make it work in RDM like ServiceNow, or I can think of ticketing systems or even tools from other vendors that people want to use. I see this often. So command line, PowerShell, that might make it work.
Awesome.
And the last thing is passkeys.
Yeah.
We talked about this. It's a quick preview. Can I show a video of what was seen? It's a very quick video here that we have on passkeys in Remote Desktop Manager.
Go ahead, Marc. It's your show.
Yeah, if I can just switch here. Did it? No. Okay, let me restart that. So this is a screen recording that was made. This is internal. It's subject to change. So this is very new. So we're saving a passkey and then log into it with a passkey inside Remote Desktop Manager. Select your passkey from our browser extension, Devolutions Workspace browser extension. So this is a very quick view of what is being built on right now. It's coming soon to a data source near you. That was the word that was used internally. So that's what it looks like. And then it's, doing like what 1Password, Dashlane, LastPass is doing, and what the operating systems are doing themselves. Windows, Mac OS, iOS, and Android. It's all the rage right now. The passkeys, and I believe it's the future. What I like to say in terms of it's so much more secure than traditional passwords. Passwords will always be inherently insecure, no matter what policies you put in place, no matter how much you can do. Passwords, I believe, is the weakest link, and so passkeys is a promising but still very new technology. So hopefully, as things evolve, we'll be at the bleeding edge of innovation and providing something that will be future proof and as secure as possible.
Thanks, Marc. Thanks for joining us again this morning. Thanks for your time. Always very.
Thank you so much.
Very fun to have you on the Devo Central show.